Scott, we're live. I'm
Excellent.
going to solo you right away. What do you got there?
Well, hang on. Before I show you this, I want to show you
Okay.
my art. I did a bait and
Okay.
switch on you, Ellis. Did you see
Okay.
my pages, my finished pages?
Let's
It's
look
the
at
first
this.
four
Yeah.
pages of the Black Cricket. I think you saw this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think you've seen most of this
No,
stuff.
I like it. I can visualize it already in terms of like it's light and darks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's page one. This is page two.
Very good. Yeah.
Basically, lawyers arguing.
Uh-huh.
This is page three. More
Yeah, let me
lawyers
see how that one
arguing.
with all that the spirit typography turned out. Oh,
Oh,
that came out
that.
very nicely.
Okay,
Very
yeah, this
nice.
is so here's what's happening, and it may be a little subtle. On the wall behind this guy are monitors,
Uh-huh.
and originally they're all on, but they're slowly going out, and
Uh-huh.
these few are black. And then we cut to the roof of the building the guy's in. The guys at the Maxwell, kind of the big guys, the Maxwell Corporation,
Uh-huh.
and they are we live?
Yeah, you should be. Yeah. Yeah, you're live. Why? Why
Okay.
do you not
Well,
think it is?
well, my TV just. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, okay. Should be live. Okay. Anyway, sorry, my TV. There's a TV in front of me and it went black. I
Huh.
don't know if that, but I don't think that means anything. I wouldn't put too much stock into that.
Well, not from my end. It's not
Okay. Okay.
going out.
Anyway, he's so the this is the bill. So Maxwell, the guys, the Maxwell Corporation is the guy's company, and his
Mm-hmm.
father started the company. He's Frank, the Black Cricket, and so they're in there talking about him, and this guy was his dad's partner. And
Uh-huh.
so, meanwhile, we cut to this guy like sneaking around on the roof of the building because they're like, he's a loose cannon. They don't even know he's the Black Cricket, and they know he's a loose cannon. So then we go. He's on the building. Then we go to this. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
saw part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's kind of running and he's gonna jump. I got try to do a big heroic pose
Mm-hmm.
in jumping, and he's got a like a jammer, kind of a new piece
Uh-huh.
of equipment, and it's stuck on his belt there. That's why I drew the little lightning bolts coming off it
Uh-huh.
because I wanted to draw a little bit of attention to it. And this is the lady that was friends with his dad, who kind of helps him. She remotes in basically and leads him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's what I got so far.
That's the
Uh,
metal gear part. He's
right? Yeah.
always got a little other off base help
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like okay, we're watching the drone that doing this or whatever.
Watch out,
Uh,
snake! Snake!
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. They're coming around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to get ahead a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, you got a job and you're doing it, man. That's pretty cool.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I don't know if we're live. Oh yeah, we are live. Okay, good. Oh,
Should
anyway,
be.
so
YouTube
sorry.
user says, "Hey guys, that's Dan."
Yeah. Hey Dan. So anyway, yeah, and so I don't know. Do you know? Did I tell you I'm going out of town Saturday or Sunday? Ellis?
And you're up to what? What are you up to?
I'm going to Princeton, Illinois, to our plant up there. So this is a work
Oh,
trip.
okay.
Yeah.
Princeton,
Which
Illinois.
yeah, which is a drag because it'll interfere with my work with my drawing.
Hmm.
Um, you know, but anyway, they asked me if I'd go. I don't know. My boss told me to go up there and poke around, so that's what I'm
Well,
doing.
working out of a suitcase is always it's always you know a hardship, really. To do
Yeah,
it.
it kind of is. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't have kids, so I'm not going to be away from my kids, but I mean, yeah, I'm going to miss a couple nights of drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I got this. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
So this is so I got to tell a story about this before I go
Okay.
too far.
Let's catch up with Dan. It says, Scott, you're killing those pages. Keep up the great work. Did you get permission to have dinner this weekend? Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, he remembers last week talking about
Yes. Oh,
these guys
actually,
saying,
yeah. Well, my boss, I took off early to get a haircut. I needed a haircut, so I went by the barber, and right as I got out of the chair, he called me. He goes, "Hey, sorry to bother you." He said, anyway, he talked to them and he told them, let Scott do what he wants to do. And he left his credit card for me to pick up tomorrow and take with me. So,
all
yes.
right.
Yeah. Stakes are on me, babies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, okay, the Marvel tryout book.
Let's
This
talk
came out
about
in
it.
83. I never saw this in 83. I didn't see it until I didn't even know it existed. I stopped reading comics sometime around 1983. There wasn't a comic shop in my town, so I never would have seen this anyway. I don't know where they sold them at.
Your town was Yukon?
Yukon. Yeah, Yukon,
Okay.
Oklahoma, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And they did not have a comic shop growing up. I got all my comics as a kid, either subscription or like 7-Eleven. There was a drugstore that had a lot of comics, but so my comics have kind of holes in them because I didn't have a reliable source.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sometime in the late, let's see, I would have been probably close to 16 in 83. Got a job, got a car. Gas was very expensive back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped reading. And John Byrne left Marvel. You know what he's doing? He was doing Fantastic Four, and I didn't care. It was the latter part of the run, and I didn't care for it. I just didn't like it. Now I went back and bought all that stuff. I didn't like some of the inkers he had, and so and he was I think it's about time he started Super. No, it was no. It was later than that because anyway, I got a Superman story, but so I didn't know about this book. And about 10 years after it came out in the mid 90s, early 90s, I was at a comic. My wife and I lived in Yukon at the time. We had bought a house. They opened a comic shop in town. I went in and he had this, and at this point it was 10 years old. So the tryout part was not. And I wasn't really drawing comics back then. I was more writing science fiction, and I was more into science fiction. Well, I started getting to comics through Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns in '89, or the movie, the Batman kind of got me back into comics. I got back into comics, but I wasn't full bore, and I wasn't trying to make comics. I go into the guy's shop one day, and he's got one of these. It's on the shelf, and I believe he wanted $25 for it.
Wow.
And at the time, my wife was in school. I was probably making $8 an hour, maybe. And so $24 was not in my budget. This is probably when my wife and I were driving one car between the two of us. So there was no extra money for a $25 comic. It just seemed crazy. But I did get. It's not within easy grabbing distance. I'm not sure exactly where it's at. It's up on the shelf there. Well, they did a second one that came out that had the X-Men in it. It was drawn by one of the Cooper brothers. And Dan was not ready for Marvel at age 14.
His other comment was that he also got a copy of it at some newsstand he used to go. That's where he got everything.
News and novels or something
News
like that.
And novels.
I saw it flash up there.
Yeah.
I wish I had gotten this. If I had this in the early 2000s, I would have ate this up. But I never had it, and I kind of forgot about it, that it was even a thing. I knew I had that one, but the one was more like a 90s style. good.
Oh, was it more like a image style or something?
Yeah, kind of. It was the '90s style of comics.
Yeah.
And it was not this cool. It wasn't near this comprehensive. So the other day they did a review of this on Cartoonist Kayfabe. They
Oh,
were
they
talking
did.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought, God, I wonder what that goes for on eBay. And I looked, and there were a lot of expensive copies, and then there was this copy. For some reason, I got this for $35 plus shipping, or including shipping.
So you
And I was
paid
just
almost the same amount you would have paid off the
I-
shelf at the time.
I figured out adjusted for inflation, $35 in 1983 would have been $11.95 instead of $12.95.
How
So
about that?
I paid a little bit more, or no, I paid less, I guess, adjusted for inflation. But yeah. But this time I have the money, and I think I'm way ahead of the '93. But anyway, what I love about this, I need to pull that other one out. What I love about this is it's got that classic style, And this is the way I was kind of drawn. And it's kind of the way I try and draw now, really.
And Dan says he doesn't know if it's this book or the second one, but one of these Marvel discovered Mark Bagley.
Okay, it's this one because in the second one, it's got a story about that.
Look at that! You get to do your inks on top of the.
Well, and so that's what I was going to show you. So it's got, and some of this, it's got a couple pages. The whole thing tells a comic story. So it's got a comic. It's drawn by John Romita Jr. And then it's got a thing about coloring, and it's got a part where you can color it. And then it goes into inks. But I mean, look, I don't know if you could see this.
I see it.
On Cartoonist Kayfabe, I couldn't see any of this illustration hardly because the light blue. But it's in person you could see it fine.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, look how many pages.
But it gives you the quick sense of what you're going to be doing when you hit it with ink. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is.
Does it seem like it's pencils that are super finish or pencils that the inker is going to have to bring something to it to get them done?
I don't think I wouldn't call them super finished, but I don't think there's a lot to do either. They're a little loose in spots. I don't think but I mean, even so, it's got script. Even the script has.
Ooh. See the script? That'd be quite a bit of information for a writer like Dan or somebody to get a hold of and say, this is how you do it, huh? Or at least it's a way. All you have to do when you're wanting to figure things out when you're a kid or just a young, talent, want to hone your talent, you just have to be shown somebody. Everybody needs a little speck of mentoring. You never just come out fully formed as yourself, doing something.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, look, it's got tons of pages of pencils in it. This chapter's on scripting. And so it's like, if you got these pencils, what would you script? How would you dialogue this?
Yeah.
Basically?
How would you do the captions and the balloons?
Yeah, and then at the end, it's got a plot that you can pencil from.
So
it's got
go
3
ahead
or
and
4
pencil
pages.
us a strip. And so that's the tryout part.
Yes. And this was the one the Bagley got. Let me see if I can grab that other one real quick. I think it's right up here. Let me dig my way over here. I think I've seen it not long ago, so I kind of know where it's at in this mess. But it may be.
Hey, you know what? I bought some of that coffee you recommended, and it's exactly
did you really?
half of what I usually pay for coffee. So it's for the same kind of quantity. Yeah, it's got a nice taste. I like it. It's got a little something going on with an aftertaste that, I don't get with the coffee I like, but it's okay. It tastes good.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. I like it. I don't know if I'd want to drink it 100% all the time, but yeah, it was funny you say that. I bought the popcorn that you were talking about.
Oh, that
movie
stuff.
theater. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's the whatever the one I got. It said it's the movie theater stuff. It didn't taste very buttery though, so I'm kind of wondering if I didn't get the right stuff.
Well, is it only 2 packs? It's the Orville Redenbacher. It's just 2 packs, and it's got
Oh
a
no no
packet.
no
It's
no!
got a packet of butter that's in it. You actually
This is
pour the
not it.
butter over it.
Okay, I'll have to look for that. Where'd you get it at?
Walmart.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
keep an eye out
yeah. It's
for it.
the smallest thing you'll see, and it's super cheap. That's the thing. It's hard to walk by it, but I tell you what, I've decided that stuff is just knocks me on my tail as far as my how I feel. It does a lot of things
Really?
to me. Yeah, it's whatever. It might be coconut oil. It might be corn
Oh yeah, it
oil.
could be that.
It just does something to me that just really knocks the
Hmm.
metabolism down and everything. You know.
Hmm.
So you might monitor your own biofeedback when you give it a shot. But it's so tasty. That's the thing. It's like so bad for you, tastes so good.
Oh yeah. Well, what does Homer Simpson say? Why is everything so fattening, so tasty?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I found it. It was under a stack of stuff. I had to liberate it. I got too much. My wife always says I got too much stuff, and I'm like, well, better too much than too little, I guess.
Well, I think about if the cat manages to catch this thing on fire, it seems to be its ambition, the way it knocks around here,
Yeah.
squeezing itself into everything and jumping on top of everything.
Oh yeah.
I've got that much more fuel, have it go up
You
quick.
you have a
Hey,
fire
it's kind of
pit
out
too?
of focus. I wonder if your camera will like it better if you move it up and down or something.
Let's see, let me
Not if your camera moves up and down. If you move the book up and down.
Oh, you
There you
mean
go.
if like this?
Yeah, like that. Let it focus on it and find it. It looks pretty good. Yeah, let me go solo and see if it looks good. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, got that old Wolverine on it.
Yep. So this is the one. Uh,
Now that does look more like what went on with the Jim Lee era of
oh yeah, this is
how you get
100.
your inks to a polish.
This is from '95.
And of course, that goes on today with David Finch. Still looks pretty much like that.
And
It's a look.
I don't think I bought this one new, by the way. I think I found it after it was published,
Well,
maybe.
how oversized is that? Your arm looks
This is eight and a
small
half
in
by
it.
11, this is 8.5 by 11, or I mean 11 by 7. Both of them are 11 by
Oh,
the
both of
art
them are 11 by
paper.
17. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
So
say it
this,
looks like a big book. Got you
yeah,
all your
when my
Pantones.
wife picked it up and brought it home because I had it sent to her work. I bought the new one off of eBay, or the old one, I guess, and she was like, "Good grief!" On the boxes. In fact, I kept the box because I'm gonna put comic pages in it after I draw them.
Sure, yeah.
Keep them stored, you know. So this is Andy Kubert, and it's got and this shows you how the coloring. Again, they're doing codes though, so it's not photoshopped. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, this was right before that would be right before the era of when they were going to discover things were going to change. Yep.
We got to buy that. What did they buy? Malibu. We got to buy Malibu.
That's
That's
right. That's
inking.
right. That's the company I worked for immediately afterwards as a video game company. What did they call themselves? But yeah, I
Flame?
got quite a few
No.
Oh, I forget what they were called. Doggone it. But yeah, that's what I did after the Monkey Tropolis folded. Got a
Oh,
job with them.
what were you doing?
The video game art. I was doing concept art for a ninja game, and
Oh,
I also did some concept art for. It was a kind of a sad time. It taught me about the actual rank and file mindset of the whole industry that I had been kind of sheltered from. I'd gone from Blue Sky to Sony for just a very bare touchdown, and then to Neighborhood. and then to Monkeytropolis, which was all just Friends and early era video games. And then I got into what I was going to realize was the culture for this old man that I am fast becoming, that I just don't fit in. And it's like, oh my God, these people are awful. And it's like, and I really just didn't fit in. And I think I got my first sense of just how awful people were fast becoming when I was invited in on enjoying one of those early YouTube viral moments where this woman had been stomping grapes for some sort of live show on TV or something, and she fell out of the vat and was in extreme pain, and her warble of pain and all of that just brought on this hilarity of laughs from all these people. And I'm still in the world I'm in, and I'm saying, oh my God, I can't watch that. There's too much pain and suffering going on.
Yeah, obviously she's in extreme pain, but they were
obviously in extreme pain, and she can't even make human sounds at that point. And it's like watching a burning victim or something. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what is happening? I don't get it.
What's wrong with these people?
And then I realized that's where the world went. That's where we're all at now in terms of like zero empathy for much of anything that happens.
Okay, back to this.
Sorry.
So
back to
no. While you're talking, I flipped through this and I realized why I got this, and it bounced off me pretty quick. There's no samples in here.
Huh.
So for example, remember how many pages there were to ink in the other one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's coloring, talks about coloring. There's 4 pages to color, just like the other one. Inking, there's a page about inking. There's some examples of different inkers. There's no pages to ink.
Well, that's interesting because the other one, could be almost looked at as a ripoff. It's like, just filling the page with a bunch of blanks saying, now put your own pencils here. No.
Well, so then there's a plotting page.
Uh-huh.
And remember, the plotting page gave you some pages to plotting and scripting. Remember, scripting gave you 5 or 6 pages to script.
Uh-huh.
The lettering, it talks about lettering. Lettering. It talks about lettering, then it talks about computer lettering.
Uh-huh.
Then it gives you a page of, I would call it very loose pencils. To maybe that's what Cooper was doing for pencils. And then it shows you where they go and how they're.
It was kind of always Jim Shooter's greatest hope that you could cut the artist out of the loop on that creative process. And I feel like with AI, maybe it's coming,
So, absolutely. So penciling, this is it. They give you 2, 3.
Oh, look at all that blank paper. Cool.
5 blank pages of marble paper, which doesn't look like any marble paper I've seen. But I mean, okay, so let me see how many pages this is compared to the other one. This is 20. Let me see. That's not the 22 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 22. So 25 pages, 5 of which are blank pages you can draw on. This one, I feel like it's got way more than that.
I think these very cool books to the extent that they, you have to toss out the feelers if you want to, because that was always a mad affair, getting those things to press. When you listen to that book, Marvel, the Untold Story, man alive.
Yeah.
It just sounds like what a madhouse we've descended into. It's almost impossible to think of how much work has to go on to put out a comic book on a regular basis, keeping the fans happy.
So I had this one. Oh, it was 20. This one was $25. I had this one, and I probably bought it a couple years after this one. The store that this one was in went out of business. But there's no examples in here, so this kind of bounced off me. I mean, I'm not going to draw like that.
But at the same time, that's great example work, really.
Yeah. I mean, I probably should have learned more from it, but I feel like this, if I'd have had this, because it's just got more work in it to look at, But oh well. Anyway, I thought it was cool.
No, it is cool. I mean, I dig all that stuff that you can still. eBay is something that if I had a whole lot of disposable income, I would recreate the entire past library of things that I left behind, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got too much stuff. My wife will say that, but
well, you added to my stuff by giving me those books Barry.
Oh yeah. Well,
was going to give me. And there's this one thing I could go get it real quick. I will in a second. But I have to be careful about what I show about it. It's the Von Bode and Bernie Wrightson collaboration.
Yeah. I looked at that stuff.
It's and as it says in the introduction, it is not a match you should make. Bernie just did not go made up with what Bode was writing, or Bode. I don't know what was the most popular pronunciation on his name. But, it just didn't work. It has to be Von Bode to make that vulgarity work, because it's a talent to draw funny, and that wasn't. And Wrightson draws funny to his own humorous notes about stuff, his own bizarreness. Has a lot of humor to it, but it just didn't mate with what Bode was writing.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting, and of course it's done really well. But it's Wrightson, almost looking more like Arthur Suydam than Wrightson. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Because he's trying to kind of ape. Of course, in Bode was good friends with Jeff Jones. And I get the feeling that if Bode hadn't been out in San Francisco, he probably would have been, a big part of the studio. Probably that. He would have been the.
He was friends with him.
Oh yeah, he would have been the fifth member of studio, or they would have just kicked out Barry Smith maybe. So let's just keep it all American. Get out of here.
Limey.
Yeah. But no, there's another recreation of the old library. I'd go for that studio book. I wonder if there's any copies that aren't completely falling apart by now.
Well, Dave bought one, and his was falling apart, and he paid he didn't pay a fortune for it, but he paid quite a bit for it.
Yeah, it'd be a shame. I guess you could always get it re-gummed or something. Hey, I'll grab that book here.
You get a rebound for sure.
I'll be right back in about 2 seconds. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing too vulgar about the front of it.
Good grief, you weren't kidding, man.
Yeah, I was just right around the corner. It's cartoon nipples. The purple pictography. Yeah, it's mainly it's actually the dialogue that would have to give you pause in terms of like showing it. And this is based on this was going directly into a men's magazine called Cavalier, I believe. Yeah.
It's all circles of ink, Ellis.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it is all circles and ink. But Bode, I was big. I don't know when I was first exposed to him, but I assume it was probably Wits End or maybe the Cavalier. I mean, after all, the newsstand. If you see something in an adult magazine, you're on a newsstand. It's like, hey, I better page through that. If they're not running the kids off for even getting close to them,
Well, but how old would
You
you have
sneak a
been?
look.
You were probably old enough to look at that stuff.
Oh yeah, I was probably when I was in getting that first wits end experience. Yeah, shoot, yeah, you're right. I probably was in high school practically. So yeah,
I
Cavalier.
probably was in high school practically.
Yeah,
That's
well,
funny.
I may have been in junior high because I remember junior high as a big moment for discovering ECs because that's when the Frazetta covers were hitting on the paperback shelf, and it's like, ooh, the Autumn People, groovy. I don't know if that's the first one or the one with the tomb where they he's reaching out of the tomb. Because the Autumn People is still, it's still purely EC comics. It's just it just had the Ray Bradbury emphasis of
Yeah.
being all Bradbury. It wasn't, what was it, Crypt Keeper? I forget which one. It was the first one that was the cover. The witch, whoever she was.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I never liked horror comics as a kid. So.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was abnormal.
Yeah, not really. I'm still working on it, and I've got it all kind of outlined and how I'm going to present it. And I found the best reference I could find for Frazetta's Werewolf, which is only a 6-page story. You know who Larry Ivy is, don't you? He did Monsters and Heroes, and he's just pretty cool. He was, he's almost kind of like the Ofcon, to the extent like before there were fans, there were guys like Larry Ivy making sure that fandom was going to happen. So
Oh yeah.
he's one of those guys that's kind of like Forey Ackerman, for his time, he was alone. It's like his publication was creating what would become fandom. People were saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
everybody digs this stuff." Yeah, Larry Ivy was part of Castle of Frankenstein and
Oh yeah. Okay.
that magazine, Castle of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I'm familiar with castles. I don't collect them, but I know Dave and Barry are big
Yeah, oh
fans.
yeah, Dave. Do you have any designs for the anti-Fantastic Four? Does that sound familiar, Scott? Scott, do you have any designs for the anti-fan? Oh, you fell out, Scott. I didn't do that to you, did I? No. Now you're back. It must have not liked you being solo for so long or something. You got removed from the stage. I didn't push anything.
You're strange.
Yeah. You're back now. For this chapter, yeah, the old witch from Haunt of Fear, probably so. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Are
I
you
know what
working
he's
on some
talking about.
anti?
Well, yeah, kind of. But I mean, they're not
designing.
kind of. No, I have not designed them yet. I think at this point, all except for one of them is wearing civilian clothing.
Okay.
So I think if you're talking about the robber, I think he's talking about the robber. I didn't think of him. I know we talked about. I don't know. No, I'll just answer it honestly.
Hey,
no.
Don't have any of that done. Oh, you know what's a good documentary on Tubi is the backstory of that Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Oh,
That-
doomed.
Yeah, Doomed. Yeah, that is fascinating. I was. It's amazing that so many people felt, and why wouldn't you feel it was legit? You knew going in that fairly often Roger Corman movies are a little less than a big budget movie is going to be, and so it's like, oh well, we're making a Roger Corman movie. Why not?
Yeah.
And I can see where they completely felt like they were on board with a real thing.
That's the sad part of it.
Yeah, it was. It was like realizing
It was
every
all-
one of those guys was giving it their all for
Yeah.
thinking they might have something that
And I don't
catches
think,
fire.
and I mean, they had no reason to believe that it wouldn't be big,
Hmm.
and it was all just a dodge, a copyright dodge, or what would you call that?
Yeah, it was just it
It
was
was to
legal. It was
retain the
legalese, basically.
yes, to retain the copyright, and
Hmm.
it's sad. It was sad because you could tell, and I've seen part of that movie, and it's not bad. I mean, good grief, they've made worse Fantastic Four movies.
Oh yeah, and Roger Corman is like right up his alley in terms of who he hands something off to and how much he gives them to spend. It could very much have been a Corman movie. Yeah,
Yep.
script wasn't anything awful. It was derivative enough that it had that going for it. Told the story.
Yeah. 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 That Doomed is that's probably one of the first documentaries I watched on Amazon Prime, actually.
Oh, okay, that's on Amazon too. Oh,
Well, it has been, and it's been off and on to Amazon, so I don't know if it is currently, but definitely that's where I watched it.
Yeah, that Tubi, you can catch up with a lot of obscure kind of stuff if you feel like going through their ad feed.
Dan was talking about something that was on Tubi on YouTube, and I made the comment, "We don't deserve Tubi."
Yeah,
It's too good for us. I can't remember what he was talking about. He was saying that Revenge of the Creature, the sequel to, I don't know if it's the sequel or the third movie for the Creature from the Black Lagoon, is going to be on Svengoolie Saturday.
Ah, that's a good one. I think that's the one with Eastwood with the mouse in his pocket.
Clint Eastwood's in it?
Yeah, just a little cameo.
That's funny.
Kind of that's his little character moment. He pulls a mouse out of his pocket.
I've never seen the two sequels of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, so.
Oh, well, that one where they, for whatever reason, he's dying or something, they decide he's got to be extracted from his scales, and his mass immediately changes. They put a huge, instead of Rico Browning, they put some big wrestler in his place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
So he gets bigger? That's.
Oh yeah, massive. He becomes massive. They got to make him scary because they're going to have him roaming around on the land and all that.
Yeah, but you would think he'd be smaller with no.
Yeah. The actors who played Reed and Ben in the Corman film came to Heroes Con to promote that film. Yeah. I think they even helped pay. Yeah, they did pay their own way. Yeah. And the Thing suit was good. Yeah, you're right. It was
the Thing suit was one of the better things,
The Croft Brothers shows. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. H&R Puffin stuff.
Oh, it's the sequel to The Creature, so a second film in the series. So no, he doesn't get his scales. Creatures Walks Among Us, not the best of the series. Yeah, it's the one I'm thinking of. He has to walk among you. So get rid of the scales and maybe you just leave a little bit of the gills on him and
give him big eyes. He's got to have big eyes.
Yeah, he's got to have the weird looking eyes. Doll eyes.
Well, the best Creature from the Black Lagoon sequel is obviously Humanoids of the Deep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. My favorite monster movie that gave me a thrill for, hey, look, monsters are back, was probably Tremors. I thought, wow, cool. Somebody finally made another monster movie that held up to, some of the old days of thinking, let's see something with monsters in it.
There you go.
Guess you broke into the wrong gall darn break room. Where they shot that creature up. And I didn't notice it until Red Letter Media did a review on it, because I don't study these things. These guys are actual, they're filmmakers themselves. Yeah, they study things for how they're done a little more than I would. And and they showed what I would have never picked up on, what was a miniature about hearing that and how it was cut together from the miniature source to the regular size source. I thought it was all practical and regular size.
Oh
But
yeah.
they had quite a bit of miniature, at least in that one scene where it breaks into the rec room, which is a great scene.
Never seen it, dude.
You've never seen Tremors?
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, you have to see Tremors.
I led a sheltered life.
Oh wow, you are many. You are actually the only person on earth that 6 steps away from Kevin Bacon does not work on. That's
Oh,
great.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that, but I don't know. Was Kevin Bacon was in Tremors, right?
Yeah. I forget what they call that. 6 steps away from Kevin Bacon, something like that.
It's like everyone in the world is 6 steps away, or
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, that's
Or
all you
all
have
the,
to
I
do.
guess all the actors. Is,
Oh, just about anything you can mention. Anything.
well, it's
Probably I
like,
could do it with the movie I saw last night, Rob Roy. You could probably do it.
so
Probably within about 2 steps. Liam Neeson
so
and
we
Kevin Bacon.
we went out to eat with it was my brother-in-law's birthday, so we went out to eat with my sister and her husband and some family. And my sister is adopted, so she was doing some kind of ancestry.com or something where you could find your family. And so she said, I swear it's true. She said, I found a 132nd cousin. I go, hang on, wait a minute. I thought everyone in the world was like 38th cousins or something like that,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know what the number is, but it just seemed like this crazy number to find. I found a cousin that's,
Yeah, it's like that ancestry thing that they're finding all these serial killers from. It's
I
like
know.
everybody that sends for a thing to find out about their history is linking what somebody else might need.
Right.
Once you
Yeah, they're
swab their
finding.
cheek, it's like, hey, you were in this area. Tremors is a must-see, Scott. Couldn't agree more. And the sequels and TV, yeah, they always tried to make the outings worthwhile. Yeah, you're right. All of them are done in the spirit of like, let's do this right.
Okay, I'll look
And
for it.
that's
In the
known.
next month, I'll watch Tremors somehow.
Try Tremors. 7 degrees of separation or 6 degrees of separation. I forget how many degrees of separation. I'll look it up. Of Kevin Bacon. Degrees.
48 degrees of Kevin
Separation. Bacon. See if I get away with that. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yeah. Is it 6 or 7 degrees? People got the same questions. 6 degrees. Any person on the planet can be connected to any other person on the planet through a chain of acquaintances that has no more than 5 intermediaries. How about that?
There could be something to that.
Probably. Yeah, I saw Rob Roy last night. Have you ever seen Rob Roy?
No, this is the episode where I admit to all the movies I haven't seen.
That's all right. No. Rob Roy isn't so classic and big that it seems odd you haven't seen it. And plus I think it's a pretty old movie. And I didn't realize. No, it's Scottish Highlands, right at the time before we cut loose from the British. It's about 50 years before that, and 1706 or thereabouts, and it's a pretty cool little flick. In terms of like, it's about the most satisfying. You get kind of tired of anything that involves revenge because it's like, there's going to be so much. It's going to be so much unpleasantness. And no, they got a nice little focus bit of unpleasantness. And then at that point, it's like, bring it on. Let's let Liam Neeson get some revenge here on on Tim Roth, which is funny. I didn't even think about it. I don't know how I just serendipity got this happening, but I just watched The Hit, which is John Hurt and Tim Roth, and it's like, I have to check the trivia on this, see how far apart they were made, and all that.
Degrees.
Another 6 degrees, another 6 degrees thing. But yeah, The Hit, yeah, gosh, that's on Tubi. I recommend that one too. As a matter of fact, I forget what famous filmmaker said it was his favorite film. Pretty famous guy. Just doing a lot of your big movies today. Just puts it as his number one. Sondheim or somebody like that. I don't know. But anyway, it rates big because it's an odd thing, the hero's journey and all that.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of an anti-hero's journey kind of thing. I don't think as a matter of fact, I think you're all the way to the end of the movie before you realize, wait a minute, the movie's about this guy. And you realize that's kind of cool. Took me a while to realize this wasn't necessarily about him. It's about him,
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, but it's just a rare little package of, that storytelling experience. Let's see what else I wanted to tell you something about. Oh, I'm listening as I'm doing my inking. Oh, I got one other big piece of news, but as I'm doing my inking for DL and Odious, I'm listening to Walden by
like Walden Pond
by Thoreau.
Oh yeah, that's a Barry Burris favorite.
I can see that. It's like this guy was. It's almost like aliens dropped him on the planet or something. It's like, here, we'll take you from 100 years in the future and drop you here, and let's hear you spout off about how things ought to be. Because he sounds just like a hippie or something. It's.
Oh yeah, well I think that's. I mean, not that Barry's a hippie, but I think Barry.
Well, no, it's the heel. Yeah, it's anybody that's got a little streak of anarchy in him whatsoever is going to, say, yeah, this is the way a guy ought to be thinking. It's like, it's that whole, free me from fake news and free my mind from being part of the hypnotized masses. It's like everybody's doing this, but why are you? Have you ever thought about what you're doing? That's
probably what appeals to Barry, because that's kind of Barry's.
Yeah, because it does bug you to look around and say, okay, these are the answers. Why are these the answers? Why is this? And in terms of like something very contemporary, he talks about the indebtedness of going to school. Even way back then, he's talking about the father becoming in debt for. He acts like it's going to be forever. It doesn't seem likely with the, the exchange rate. It might be, and that just seems amazing to me that that could be something somebody else is wise enough to see that somebody else can't see.
Yeah, boy, a lot of people can't see it.
Yeah, I know it. So that, and the only other big thrilling news is on January 30th, I finished my rewrite of, novelization of The Locust Bride.
Really?
Ta-da, man alive. I've still been walking around kind of like,
with a daze
on a cloud, because I did it. It took 8 months to do it, but I did it. And now I just have to do all the other pieces of, kind of semi-branding it, doing a new cover, getting it into Kindle, getting all that done. And then becoming a guy that doesn't flake out and continues to promote it. I'm going to promote it for about a solid 6 months. I want people to read it. I think it's going to be fun to have it out there and get a little feedback on.
That's cool. Yeah, dude, that's cool that you got that done.
Yeah. Well, and of course, it's also part of the new way of doing things. As a matter, and that's what. Yeah, getting the X, and but of course that leaves this void. Right now, I'm still on it because I'm giving it a final read, and since I'm the only editor, I've got to make sure it doesn't have too many glaring glitches of the English language in it. And got to pass through it a couple of times like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's groovy. I love it.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And that's I always draw people with rolled up sleeves.
I always
all of a sudden bugged by it.
I don't think I ever wear a long sleeve shirt and don't roll up the sleeves.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to where I used to wear like sweaters and stuff, but okay, so I'm going to Princeton and it was really cold up there. I thought, God, buy me a sweater. And I went and tried on several sweaters and I was like, I'm not wearing this. It'll get too hot. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to look a certain way, don't you, too?
Nah, I could wear whatever I want to wear, but I try and always wear a shirt with a collar to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wear a sweater. On Fridays, I'll dress down, but up there, I always try and dress appropriately. And I feel like this time around, I need to kiss up to upper management, so I really need to, kind of look fetching.
I think that
I got a haircut today, so that
you did.
Help. Yes.
Did it make you happy?
Yeah. I like my barber's really cool. She's Vietnamese. She's a little bit older than me, and she came over. Oh, she's 60. She's 65. Anyway, I think she's in her early 60s. But she came over in the 70s from Vietnam. She was pretty young. She was married, and then she ended up getting divorced, and then she went to barber school, and I don't know if you ever saw the pictures of me with real long hair.
Yeah.
I went like a year without getting a haircut, and part of the reason I ended up doing that because I got a really bad haircut for the place. I was going to a place by my work, but you could never get the same people. It's just it wasn't a super cut, but it was about like that. You just go in and somebody cuts your hair.
Sure.
And it bugged me, and I got this horrible haircut, and so I was like, I'm gonna just let it grow, and so I let it grow. And then when I finally went to get it cut, I decided I was tired of it. I was gonna get cut. I'd driven by this barber shop, and I said, well, I'm gonna go in there, and I drove by it. And I was going to stop the first time, and I just kept driving. It's like I couldn't bring myself to get a haircut. I've been growing it for so long. And so I went in there. I finally went in there, and she cut it. And she did a great job, and I've gone there ever since. It's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. But she's super nice, but her English is super broken. Hey, I see a cat.
Yeah. It's a little dummy that tries to break things. It's just too feral. It may be. Just gave it a toss onto the bed, but it'll probably be right back. It's like, why did you do that? I was where I wanted to be.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be on camera. Well, my dog's about like that, but sometimes. But,
Yeah, I remind that when you say that about bad haircuts, I got a bad one. This guy that was from Thailand that I worked with at he was obviously an American at the time I got him to cut my hair. But, he just something he volunteered to do. And I said, yeah, sure. And it was just a awful haircut. And the guy that I remember the feedback I got from, I said, yeah, a guy from Thailand cut it, when asked. And this guy says, well, yeah, they also, They also defecate in the street in Thailand or something like that. He gave me he gave me the over under on what they also do in Thailand
what
besides
they're up
bad
to in
haircuts.
Thailand. Yeah.
And yeah, it was something. And guess who that person was that gave me that review of that haircut? That was
Doug
Mike
no.
Mike McQuay,
Mike
local
McQuay. Oh
local Okie author that was
yeah.
actually did the novelization of
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. He was actually becoming kind of a big deal. Yeah,
For
Matthew Swain.
He did the Matthew Swain series. I think there's 3 books in the Matthew Swain series, which is a futuristic detective. He wrote the novelization for Escape from New York. And that was those 4 books were the ones that I read. Now in our podcast, we read was it Timescape?
I need to read that all the way through. I've got it.
Yeah, and then I think he did a book called Jitterbug, which I don't know what that was about.
Oh, that's the one I've got. Yeah, it's another take on time travel that is pretty well thought out in terms of arriving virtually versus actually being getting your mass back into time. I think you're a passive viewer. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah. I've never, like I said, my Mike McQuay, and I knew he was from Oklahoma. Speaking of the novelization for
I was in his little, look at that, Escape from New York. You got it right. Close at hand.
I think they've reissued it. Dude, I had this. I bought this when I was a kid, man. 1981. I love Escape from New York is one of my favorite movies.
McQuay is the guy that hit me to the groovy revenge movie Rolling Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry knows McQuay or knew McQuay.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think he. I don't want to defame the guy or anything like that, but I think he died of a heart attack due to coke. That was that was the big coke era. And I think he did it to himself, and shame, because he was going to be one of those guys that got a lot of attention.
There were quite a few.
He would have been an Ed Brubaker.
Writers. He what?
He would have been an Ed Brubaker level kind of, if not more.
Yeah. Well, but he didn't do comics, so he probably.
Yeah, but he would have had that. He would have had that much
sway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have
stroke or whatever.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, because it's Oklahomans don't always make it big in the real world or the outside world. I mean, it's just There's not
there's not that many Archie Goodwins coming down the pike.
And most of them end up moving, and he didn't move.
You got to move. Yeah.
Well, he didn't have to.
Yeah, I remember he had the Radio Shack word processor, and he was just super thrilled by what that meant to him in terms of he was right there on the cutting edge of how to quickly edit now that he had a computer that he could type into. And we're talking about that era that he didn't get much beyond. Boy, he was you couldn't have handed him any tech. He wouldn't have been just all over.
Oh yeah. I think there was a lot of people in that era, the 80s or or 90s, where people were kind of eating that stuff up, especially stuff that was productivity kind of hardware.
Oh yeah. We talk about that term we've used here before, desktop publishing. Yeah.
Yeah, ruined my
life. And it changed everything for everybody. It's like, hey, why in the world would this buggy whip be made this way when you can make it this way?
I cannot imagine though the. I mean, I know people did it, but man, writing on a typewriter. I mean, God,
Yeah, it's like,
jeez.
what are you going to do with that? Are you going to be able to finish it like that? I don't know. It
No,
seems risky.
it's like starting off on a journey.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I
And then
wrote
you're
a
going to
lot
hand
of
it
stuff
somebody
on a
that's going to,
typewriter.
huh?
I wrote a lot of short stories on a typewriter,
Sure.
but I
And
switched to a computer pretty quick.
then you think about like, okay, here's my manuscript. Now retype it. Try not to
Yeah,
make any mistakes.
yeah.
You got
Don't
to
screw it
typeset
up.
it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
amazing.
again, though, it's when you lower the bar, and guys, gonna make it sound like an elitist, but when you lower the bar for some of this stuff, it just opens the door for people that are not as dedicated. I mean, if you make, it's like photography. Back in the day when photography was film, if you wanted
Hmm.
to be a photographer, you had to be dedicated. You know, you were going to be a photographer. You bought a camera. And if you were any kind of photographer, you developed your own film.
Sure.
And
Had your studio or
yeah, you had, well, yeah, or
your
a
lab.
closet, yeah,
Hmm.
some sort of lab, and and then you went to digital photography, and then and now it's like, well, now people have thousands of photos in their pockets they never look at.
Hmm. And they're
And
just a filter away from saying, okay,
greatness.
I'm going to
Oh,
crop this, do that. Yeah, and it's
gosh,
effortless.
yeah. I'm gonna
And
take
of
a photo,
course,
I'm gonna burn and dodge it.
and they and the deep fakes anymore are becoming so good. They have that picture of Biden with
Yeah,
where he's dressed in camo and all that, sitting around looking like an idiot around the table. It's like, is that real? Because he's surely not that tone deaf that he would allow himself to be dressed like he was a soldier while he was creating World War III. I mean, that'd be kind
yeah,
of silly, but yeah, and it was a fake. But it's like
right. But it looks
for a,
real.
yeah, for a second you go, maybe he wanted
Yeah,
to dress
maybe
up that day. I don't know.
it was dress up day in grade school.
Yeah,
Oh, Ellis, it's time.
it is time, isn't it? It
I
went
got
by
the. I got
quick.
my. I
Did
got
we
my
did we
page.
not mention anything we wanted to mention? I don't know.
No, I
I think
think
we talked
everything
about
got
things. Looks like
mentioned.
you touched your pages a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, I got page 5. I had number at page 5.
Cool.
Started. I don't know how much I'll get done before I leave town, Dan. Uh, you know, but I wanted to at least get it started so that I wouldn't. So I'm not coming if this is all I get done because I got packed. We're leaving early Sunday. If this is all I get done, at least I will not be coming back to a blank page. You know.
Yeah. You gotta. Oh, it helps. That's one of the big things about that sort of machine-like discipline. If you want to create it, leave yourself a little partial that you started on, so that when you
Yeah.
get back to it the next day, it's like, here we go. I don't have
Yeah.
to start with a blank page.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Do what you
Okay.
got to do. It's cool.
Okay.
That's what Dan
Thank you,
says. He
Dan.
says good night too.
Good
Okay,
night,
well,
Dan.
Scott will hit the button. You
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Yeah.